Welcome back, guys, to Hell Is Us. This is part 12 of our 19-part trophy guide and walkthrough. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe before we move on any further, just so that you're always notified when I come up with a new guide. We're starting out in the Leth Ministry. From where we spawn in at the APC, you want to go forward, and to the right, we're going to go down a path in this underground parking area, and you're going to pick up a key card off of the body that's there. Turn around and head back up the path. There are a few ON guards here. You can speak to them if you like, but it is not necessary. Before we go through the doorway, turn to the left and you'll see an orange or a yellow glowing orb. This is a Limbic Rod Rage V. It is inside of the small white truck. Now we can head on into this building. When you come inside, you can only go to the left. Go behind the stairs to pick up cap number 5. This one is the Rage cap. Before moving on, we're going to go into our loadout and actually put it on so that we don't forget to equip it by the end of the game. It's a nice looking cap. Head up the stairs. There are several flights that we have to go up. This is going to be kind of like a government building here. When you get in here, you must go to the right. That is where there's a door that's open. Behind the first desk, you can pick up the research item, Burnt Notes. Be sure to grab these before we move on. Continue on into the next room, and there's a recording behind the door. Take note of this painting. We need to know about all of these large paintings that we're going to be seeing throughout here. This building. Unfortunately, there is a man hanging from the light fixture. This is Martin Ralst, who we spoke to Tanya about earlier, and he's not going to be very much help to us in this state. We can't interact with his computer right now, so just leave the room through the door that we have not been through yet. Follow the hallway to the office with the secretary and speak to this NPC here. This gives us a little bit of insight on what's going on. Around the desk, there are some ministry car keys. You want to be sure and grab those because it starts the blackmailed mystery. Head over to this coronation painting. We're going to be seeing a lot of large paintings of this guy, Astor. So keep an eye out for those. There's information that we're going to need from these paintings later. Go to the right of the painting and enter the door on the right. There's a woman hiding in this room.
Please.
We need to help her.
Who are you?
So speak to her and exhaust all of her investigation dialogue.
I'm the one who called.
We're going to find out later that her name is Maeve, but for now she's just the distressed woman. She is stuck in here. There's a guard on the other side of the door that's closed that isn't letting her out, and she also can't leave because there is a hollow on the door that we came in. He's guarding that hallway. So she needs a little bit of help to get out. Before we deal with that hollow, go to the left of the painting and open up the door to this office. There's a man in here that you can speak to if you wish. It just gives you a little bit of story. And then come to this door that has a key card slot. Slide your key card that you picked up in the parking area, and you can get another recording in this room as well as some women's clothing. This starts the Incognito good deed. Be sure to open up the other door in the room and pick up the satellite radio. Through that door, that's where we came in. You could see the yellow orb glowing when we walked into this floor. So now we want to go, we cannot engage with this enemy just yet, but you want to drop down to the lower floor in front of it. And we're going to come down into this sort of, it looks kind of like a display room almost. It may have been some sort of a meeting room before, but now, yeah, there's no meetings going on anymore. You can check out these paintings on the walls, but they're not going to give us any insight into what we need the paintings for. Exit the room and pick up Martin Rost's wallet. This is a usable item, and it gives you a clue as to how to unlock the computer. Enter the only available room, which is to the left of the wallet, and take out these humanoid hollows. In this room, around this toppled over desk, you can pick up the research item Provincial Border Map. Keep on going the only way that we can. Be sure to pick up this drone module, and we will earn the Tech Savvy trophy for picking up that item. This is for picking up all drone modules in the game. There's a Lymbic rod Ecstasy Y on the right side of the room. And just so you know, that is all unique drone modules. That does not include upgrades to drone modules that you previously have. On the right side of the room, also, you can open up some of the doors to these smaller offices. We want to look at the note Favors Owed, and that note is going to give us the code to open up the safe in this room. The code is 2703. There's an official Hadean stamp in there. You want to grab this before we move on. There is an enemy hiding out in the back of the room, so just go ahead and get rid of him before we explore more. You can come around into this office all the way at the back, and around the desk with the dead man you can pick up the blank ID cards as well. We're going to have to head back to the Leth National Library to deliver these to those people who were patiently waiting down in the basement. Head on into reception, which is the only other room that we can move on to. There's an enemy waiting in here. If you go around the back of what looks to be a reception desk, there's another cryptic clue, which I've given you the code to this early, so you can pick it up or you don't have to. It's completely up to you. Go up the stairs. If you go to the right, this is the hollow that we fell down in front of earlier. This is going to help the distressed woman to get out of that room by getting rid of that ranged hollow. Now we can turn around and open up the glowing doors. This is another kind of reception area. There's a recording sitting on the desk, and then you also want to interact with the computer. The repairs completed email gives us a hint as to what we need to do in Martin Rost's office, because it's not just the computer that we have to interact with. There's also a radio in there. So read that and then go over to the glowing doors and inspect this next painting and speak to the ON soldier that's in here. It looks like her name is Mirielle or Mirielle. I'm not sure how to say it. We want to give her the women's clothes
I should be able to slip by
so that she can sneak on out of here. That completes the good deed Incognito. Once you leave the room, exit behind that reception desk. You can speak to this man, Elijah. He's the one who's guarding the door on this side so that the distressed woman, Maeve, couldn't leave. In the room directly in front of him, there's another large painting that you can inspect, and there's a save point as well. Use it if you wish. Go around the table, and this hall is going to bring us in a circle. This is back close to where we first started exploring this area. We've actually already inspected that painting. So make your way back over to Rolst's office, and we're going to talk to Maeve now. You'll want to exhaust all of her investigation dialogue.
Everything changed when Martin began.
What can you tell me about this symbol?
When the Ministry of Cultural Primacy was created, in fact, Martin's obsession with Lord Astor began with that symbol. Martin believed this symbol would shed... I have no clue what the symbol means or where... I don't know why, but each time Martin opened his safe, he said...
Now tell me more about Martin Rolst.
Martin was obsessed. Martin always found it strange
From
that
her,
he could only
we
find...
find
I'm
out
pretty
that
sure he
Martin
didn't risk
actually
coming
started
here.
as
However,
an
you need to brush up on
archaeologist.
your knowledge of Lord Astor if you want to
So
bad memory and
that
keep reminders of his past.
leads us to believe we'll be investigating an archaeological dig site in the near future. We can come over to this computer now, and by looking at the information that we found in the wallet, you can see that the coronation year of the one true king is the code. So, if you were paying attention to the 4 paintings that we looked at, 773 is the year he was coronated. Put that in, and you can read all of the files on the computer. A lot of talk about dig sites and portraits. Now that that's completed, we can come over to this corner of the room and interact with the radio. If you read the email, you know that you need to tune the radio to 60 and you need to put it on the AM band. That's going to move this painting over and give us access to the safe. The code to this safe is based on years. The first number is 20, which is how many years he ruled. 3, which is how many wars he had. 2, which is how many children he had. And 79, which is the amount of time that he lived his life. So input that code, you get an iron seal. You also get a journal, and we discover a new area, the Auriga Museum. This updates the symbol of the charioteer for us. And now that we're finished here, we can go ahead and go down the stairs, back into this parking area, and we're going to head down to the same area where we picked up the key card. Go over to this blue car here and use the keys to unlock this trunk where we get the Lymbic rod Ecstasy X. We also get a report as well. We can now head back to the APC. We're done here in this part of Leth. So hop inside, and we are going to go into the navigation computer, and we're first going to head over to the Leth National Library. You can see the ministry is clear. We're going back to the library to complete a good deed. Head inside the building and go to the left. Then you'll want to take a right and go through the door at the end of the hallway down the stairs. We're going to go back to the older woman with the scarf on her head. You can trade her the stamps and the cards.
Excellent. This should be all I need
Doesn't
for the
matter the
documents.
order. And once you've given her both items, the good deed, A Way Out, is now completed. I went back over to that save point to see if I could warp back to the APC, but for some reason, that save point doesn't give you the option to warp back over, so I have to take the long way. It's still pretty short, but you know, I was trying to save some time, but it wouldn't let me. Once you're back at the APC, we're going to take a look at the navigation computer again. Here I'm just going through and showing you the areas that are clear, which are both places in Leth and Maristan. And Tauju is also clear at this point. For now, we want to go to Acasa Marshes. We are going to be completing a good deed here and clearing out some enemies. We don't have a whole lot left to do in this area, but we still have to clear the entire thing. So let's head over to the marsh area to begin with. Once you can look out over the marsh, if you remember, we cleared out everything to the left of the entrance of where we first entered the marsh. If you remember, we came in near a mass grave. So everything to the left should be clear. You can see there are a few enemies that were left behind on the left, but we can go and take care of those right now. It's just a few, and these should be the final enemies in this area. And if you recall, both time loops are collapsed in this area, so any enemies that you kill will remain dead. Now we can head over to the other side where we have not been lately. If you recall, all the way to the other side in the marsh, there's a large statue there, and there were 2 ON officers that were hiding in there. We're going to be paying them a visit. Just beforehand, we're going to be running through this area to take out all the enemies along the way. Don't forget that a lot of these enemies, especially the humanoid hollows, they like to hide in the water. They'll lay down and you have to pretty much run through the water and aggro them to get them to stand up so that we can take them out. Kind of keep your head on a swivel because enemies can be hiding around here. And some of them, it's almost like they blend in with the trees. There aren't a whole lot of trees growing in this marsh, but the few that there are, you'll see that enemies kind of, they're shaped so oddly, except for the humanoid ones, that they can sort of blend in with the surroundings. So do keep your head on a swivel and keep your eyes peeled for any movement or any flashes of white. Up on these little raised hilly areas, there is usually a ranged hollow around. So make sure to explore up on top of these hillier areas. I know this can seem kind of annoying that I go kind of back and forth. But like I said, I don't want to miss any enemies. I want to get this place completely cleared out. Because you have to do it regardless if you want the platinum. So whether you do it during the normal gameplay or if you do it post-game, it still has to be done. Now, unfortunately, from this area, you cannot go up those stairs. They're broken, and there is no wooden bridge to cross over the deep gap to the next area. So we're going to have to make our way up to the main road. There, I kind of fudged it and just forced myself up onto the paved street. Make your way over to the next segment of land. You can see we have this segment here that I'm on right now. We'll take out the enemies here. And then there's a wooden bridge that connects to the segment on the right. And that last segment of land is where those two ON soldiers are hiding inside of the statue. Around the back here, there is always a small group of humanoid hollows that you'll want to take out. Up on this little rock, you'll see there's a ranged hollow as well. And then there's the kind of grasshopper looking one on the ground. Go onto the next wooden bridge that takes us straight to the statue. There is a haze enemy behind it. Don't forget about that one. And then work your way behind the statue and go inside. For these two guys, the one that's sitting in the corner, we're going to give him the satellite radio.
Only static. No, we should have left at the same time as everyone else.
And then for the other one that's sitting on the floor,
That's exactly
you want to
what I
give
need.
him the pill bottle of metformin. And that completes the good deed, Waylaid. Now that we're done with that, as we work our way back over to the town of Jova proper, don't forget there is an enemy up on the paved road here that has a haze inside. You'll want to get rid of that. There's nothing going to the left, so head over to the right. Don't forget about that little hole there, that crater that's in the paved road. It can be really tricky to get out of, so try to avoid it if you can. It just makes life a little bit easier. We're heading back over to the APC. If you need to do anything with Victor, feel free. From this point, look over at the navigation computer. You can see there in Acasa Marshes, it looks as though this area is not clear, but there are only level 1 threats. So all of the level 2 enemies, which normally would be found in the Abbey, they're all taken care of. But I am missing a few that are here. I am going to put in a cut. I'm not going to make you watch me go all the way back and look through everything. But I know exactly where the enemies are that I missed. And they're actually down in the underground area. So once you exit the APC, you can see here I'm in this underground area. I'm going to just show you exactly where the enemies are that I missed. If you can find your way through. So here, if you look to the right, that's the Enlightenment vault that we opened. So you want to go to the left across from that vault door. There are a few humanoid enemies down this hallway. Here I'm just double checking. And then if you round the corner, there are 2 more. And these are the final enemies of the area. I'm trying to make sure that I got everything, but me from the future knows that those were the final enemies. So you can actually just run down the road, go through that gate that we opened that leads straight into the underground tunnels, and take those enemies out, and then make your way back over to the APC. I'm not sure why I decided to go this way. I think I'm just making extra quadruple sure that there's no other enemies here. But you'll see once we get back over to the APC and open up the navigation computer, you will see that Acasa Marshes is now clear. Thank the good Lord, we are finally done with this area. It's a large area with a lot of enemies, with a lot of nooks and crannies for them to hide in. So I'm so glad to be done. Looking at the computer, you can see this area is now clear. So we're finally done with that. Marstan is clear. Both cities in Leth are clear. Talju is clear. At this point, we want to travel over to Vyssa Hills. We've already been here. We're going to make a pit stop over at Gildas, of course. But this is where we have to continue investigating the twin-headed serpent. So I'm sure you remember there's these snake-like tunnels all over the area. We're going to be making our way through and around those. So we're going to open up an entirely new area in Vyssa Hills. Let's climb up the ladder and make our way over to Gildas and collect some rewards while we're here. I think we've done quite a bit since the last time we saw him, so we should get a good amount of rewards. Once you get over to Gildas, speak to him and ask him about the good deeds.
I'm glad you went out of
and
your way
he's
for
going to
Hadean.
give you quite a few items. Then we
What's our
can
status
ask
on
him
time
about
loops?
time loops.
Keep it up. The creatures don't stand it.
This gives us the emotional warfare trophy. That trophy is for collecting all glyphs of each limbic sphere. And just in case you didn't know, you can check your glyphs with Victor. So when you go to do upgrades with him, there's an area that says glyphs, and you can see which ones you have and if there are any missing. Here I'm just pulling out my data pad and going over the exploration, and as you can see here, we have a lot of good deeds that are finally completed. It looks as though we have 3 left to discover and 1 that is incomplete at the moment. In mysteries, you can see there's 1 that's incomplete in Sinedra Forest, 1 incomplete in Acasa Marshes. We have 3 in Vyssa Hills that have yet to be discovered, 1 in Lake Sinon that's incomplete, and 1 that has yet to be discovered. All 3 in Talju are completed. All 3 in Marstan are completed. 2 in the library are completed. 1 in the ministry has yet to be completed. Go over to the time loops and you can see which ones we have collapsed. You can see there's 1 in Sinedra Forest that we haven't even found yet. So once you're done with Gildas, warp back over to the APC, and this is where we're going to pick up in our next video. So thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. So you always know when I have a new guide out, and I can't wait to see everybody back here in part 13. Until then, Khajiit always has wares.